Why there is a CIA base in the center of Australia. What if I told you a top secret undercover CIA agent is working in the center of Australia, and even the Australian government doesn't know about it? Seems hard to believe, but it's true, and we have facts to prove it. So stay tuned and watch the full video. At Pine Gap, just outside of Alice Springs, the Australian and American governments publicly agreed to establish what they refer to as the Joint Defense Space Research Facility on December 9, 1966. The U.S. began using Pine Gap in the 1960s at the height of the Cold War to spy on the Soviet missile launches, even though it is highly likely that the Soviets were also aware of Pine Gap. The Australian government is mostly kept in the dark about what happens at Pine Gap. Even former prime ministers like John Gordon and Gough Whitlam were not fully aware of how it operated. Pine Gap is a satellite tracking base and an Australian Earth station approximately 18 kilometers, 11 miles, southwest of the city of Alice Springs in the Northern Territory of Central Australia. It is jointly operated by the United States and Australia and has been officially called the Joint Defense Facility Pine Gap, JTFPG, since 1988. It was formerly known as the Joint Defense Space Research Facility. Pine Gap is officially a collaboration between the Pentagon's Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency and the Australian Department of Defense. This hides Pine Gap's true purpose as a CIA-run spy base to collect signals from U.S. surveillance satellites in geosynchronous orbit above the equator. Historical background. For most of its history, it is found that Australians worked there only as watchmen, cleaners, guardians, cooks, or doorkeepers. All spies hired there were from the U.S. The position of the satellites. The satellites are reported as being geosynchronous, which means they are similarly positioned high in orbit and more than 20,000 miles above the Earth's surface. They are equipped with powerful intelligence technology used to spy on wireless communications on the ground, such as those sent and received by radios, cell phones, and satellite uplinks. They converge deliberate and tactical scientific, military, economic, and political communication signals, according to the documents, and also monitor weapons or missile tests in target countries to obtain intelligence from foreign military data systems and provide oversight support to U.S. forces. One of the securest areas. About 38 radar antennas are pointing skyward, many of them hidden under golf ball-like shells. The facility itself is isolated, located behind a security checkpoint on a road marked with restricted area signs, about a 10-minute drive from Alice Springs, home to about 25,000 people. A large cohort of U.S. spy agency personnel is stationed at the site, including employees of the CIA, NSA, and the National Reconnaissance Office, which is the agency that manages the spy satellites. Intelligence personnel is joined by compatriots from the U.S. Navy, Army, and Air Force. So, is the Pine area dangerous or not? The Australian government denied that Pine Gap made Australia a nuclear attack target. However, Gilling reveals how Canberra bureaucrats secretly planned Armageddon. A top-secret Fraser government report in 1980 concluded that, although unlikely, Pine Gap made Australia a nuclear target in the event of a nuclear war. Since the breakup of the former Soviet Union in 1991, Pine Gap has broadened. It has played a crucial role in both the U.S. wars against the Pentagon's War on Terror and Iraq, as well as a means of eavesdropping on people's phone conversations and spying on other countries in the Asia-Pacific region, such as China and Indonesia. Pine Gap's role on the War on Terror was revealed by American whistleblower Edward Snowden, who broke into National Security Agency (NSA) files and went into expulsion to avoid the threat of a long-term prison term. From warfighting to tactical intelligence. When first founded by the United States in 1966, becoming operational partially by early 1969 and fully by 1970, the original goal of Pine Gap was to receive information on the testing of Soviet missiles. During missile tests, information reports about the performance of various parts of the missile in flight is transmitted by radio signal to the test base. U.S. satellites in geostationary orbit located above the Earth picked up this rocket telemetry and transmitted the data to Pine Gap and other ground stations. This information was later transformed into useful signal intelligence regarding the capabilities and potential of the new Soviet missiles. Today, Pine Gap still monitors missile tests conducted by a wide variety of nations, including North Korea. The government that approved Pine Gap's foundation never foresaw the second component of its operations. Pine Gap served as a remote ground station for numerous generations of U.S. early warning satellites after the U.S. post at Nuremberg was shuttered in 1999. The thermal signature of ballistic missile launches is identified by strong infrared telescopes on geostationary satellites. The primary objective of this technology, which is now to give early warning of a potential attack on the United States, has been expanded to support the rapid development of land and sea-based missile defense systems in the United States and Japan that are intended to stop a North Korean missile attack. Pine Gap's job is to transmit data reporting a probable launch and calculate its probable trajectory. These warning calculations are then downlinked to the less powerful but finer-grained anti-missile defense radars in the Western Pacific, which then have a real practical chance of intercepting the missile early in its flight and destroying it. Without the bump that Pine Gap provides, it's currently difficult, if not impossible, to make Pine Gap an important part of the United States ballistic missile defenses. 9/11 terrorist attack. Australia's intelligence agency is now operated in a nearly fully integrated manner and is regarded as an equal partner with the U.S. after the 9/11 terrorist strikes. On Australia land, several important installations provide significant contributions to the NSA network. The Australian Signals Directorate, ASD, has several specialized signals collection facilities in Australia, in addition to using diplomatic missions to gather internet and telephone data as part of a program called Stateroom, which refers to the conversion of signals and intelligence gathering bases concealed with diplomatic missions. These businesses' technical departments are home to intelligence workers who have access to the data needed for X-Keystone to function. Role of Pine Gap in satellite transmissions. The joint facility in Pine Gap in the Northern Territory, which is barely 20 kilometers from Alice Springs, is in charge of gathering the signal. Here, Echelon Software does meta-harvesting of satellite transmissions, public switch telephone networks, and microwave signals, telephone, fax, email, and other data traffic. It is checked for pre-programmed keywords in this data. Additionally, it's linked to a chain of identical listening devices located all around the world, as well as the British listening device at Menwith Hill. With the use of the base's wiretapping capabilities, the US and Australian spies can even listen in phone calls made in nations like China and Indonesia. The secret history of Pine Gap and how it changed from a Cold War wiretapping center to a crucial component of the Pentagon's war machine are both compellingly described in Project Rainfall. Major wars. During the Indo-Chinese Wars, Pine Gap obtained crucial data on North Vietnam, the Khmer Rouge in Cambodia in the 1970s and 1980s, and the Pathet Lao in Laos. The tool was also vital in the Persian Gulf Wars and the Afghanistan Wars. After 9/11, the emphasis turned to acquire intelligence about potential terrorists. Potential drone attack targets can be located by fusing images with radio and mobile devices. The U.S. Drone Strike program is given this information. Supports military and intelligence operations. Pine Gap, according to a top-secret April 2013 NSA report, plays an important role in supporting both military operations and intelligence activities. One of its significant functions is the collection of geological intelligence that can be used to pinpoint airstrikes. The Australian base has a special section known as GeoPit for this function. It's equipped with several available geolocation tools that provide a wide range of geolocation potentials and capabilities in conjunction with other ground-based strategic fixed site systems, according to the NSA's August 2012 facility site profile. Pine Gap and the systems it is a part of have undergone remarkable technical development after a half a century of its development, thus greatly increasing the sensitivity and breadth of its signal intelligence capabilities, particularly in the area of cell phone interception and satellite communications. This provided the technical basis for Pine Gap to provide data to target illegal U.S. drone strikes in countries with which neither Australia nor the United States is at war, including Yemen, Pakistan, and Somalia. Pine Gap is perhaps the United States and Australia's joint most important intelligence firm outside of this country, playing a significant role in gathering a very wide range of signals intelligence, targeting nuclear weapons, providing early warning of ballistic missile launches, and reporting battlefield intelligence to the United States forces operating in Afghanistan and elsewhere, including formerly in Iraq. Critically support of the missile defenses of the United States and Japan, support arms control verification, and contributing data on the targeting of United States drone strikes. This ends the video for today. Tell us what you think about this secret organization center. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel to learn more.